Welcome to Phoenix School, a modern, purpose-built special school for children and young people with autism in East London. All children attending the school have a diagnosis of autism, and they enjoy coming to Phoenix because the individually tailored curriculum reflects their interests.
Welcome to Phoenix School. Phoenix is an outstanding school in the London Borough of Tower Hamlets. We take children who have a diagnosis of autism and learning difficulties, and we have over 320 on roll.
The school has a rich and stimulating curriculum to provide an environment that stimulates specialised learning and supports good practice. Pupils at Phoenix are grouped by their communication and learning needs, rather than just by their age.
At Phoenix, we follow the national curriculum, but we adapt it to meet the needs of the pupils in school. Teachers plan and make sure that they think about the needs of the children in their class. They use very practical activities and focus on their communication and engagement for every lesson. We engage our pupils in their learning by using real objects and visuals to help support them.
Well done, everyone.
One of the key strengths of the school is the range of provisions available. The school offers a variety of sensory and therapeutic interventions and a multidisciplinary approach to pupil needs.
We use a system called PECS, which is Pictorial Exchange Communication System, which is a way that the children learn to communicate their needs and their wants. We have a strong emphasis on horticulture, where the children learn to experiment and to work practically in the garden, to plant and to harvest things that they've grown. The pupils at Phoenix have a very engaging and stimulating curriculum that offers fun and active learning.
We focus on maintaining good relationships between home and school.
My child was diagnosed when he was 3 years old, and he used to go to mainstream school for nursery. When he was in the mainstream school, he was lost. They didn't understand him, he couldn't communicate, he had behavior issue. And when he was 4 years old, he started Phoenix. As soon as he started Phoenix, it was like a miracle happened. My child transformed, his behavior was better, and the school are really good at supporting parents in terms of training us on the techniques they use on teaching them.
Big number, 15.
Phoenix strives to be a centre of excellence with its collaborative approach. We encourage respect for others, kindness, good manners and tolerance.
Circle time is finished.
Apasen International and Phoenix School have jointly established a special school in Sylhet, Bangladesh, as a pilot project for children diagnosed with autism and learning disabilities.
In Bangladesh, there is no such facilities of proper assessment, and until you assess someone, our children with autism, it's very difficult to provide services. We developed partnership with Phoenix, an award-winning school in the UK, and we are going to start the project together. And our expertise in health and social care, and Phoenix School has got purely autism, so it will be a good start.
The two strategic partners, Apasen and Phoenix, will work together to establish a sustainable model school for marginalised children with autism and neurodevelopmental disorders.
The reason that we want a link with Bangladesh in terms of the new school is because many of our parents, over 80% of them, come from a Bangladeshi heritage. We feel that we can offer Sylhet a little of what we do here. And the idea is that we replicate the very good practice that we have at Phoenix. I hope you enjoy watching this film and seeing a little bit of what we do at Phoenix.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure now you know who are the key players. Veronica and Stuart and myself, we are going to Bangladesh next week, and in presence of our trustee board chair of Apasen, Mr. is in here, Halal Rahman, chair of Apasen International. So let me explain how we have come to this stage today. London Bangla Press Club official, media personalities, distinguished community leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. We are very pleased to welcome you to our press conference. It gives me immense pleasure to inform you that the dream of Apasen International taking its expertise to help the most vulnerable in Bangladesh is becoming a reality. Before going into the brief description about Apasen's journey in Bangladesh, I'd like to speak about disability in Bangladesh. A World Bank case study on disabilities in Bangladesh estimated that 16.2% of working age people had some kind of disability. This represents more than 24 million individuals using an expanded measure of disability. The prevalence rate amongst adults was seen to be as high as 19.66%. To tell you briefly about our journey to Bangladesh, after almost 4 years of immense study, research, and groundwork, we are now able to open a day opportunity center for young adults 60 plus and the Phoenix Satellite School for children with autism and special education needs. Our target is to open this center and school in September this year. Since an international conference held on autism in Bangladesh by Saima Hossain Wazir in 2010, Apasen had been invited by the All-Party Parliamentary Group APPG for Bangladesh in House of Commons to discuss about the experience of Apasen UK and the possibility to transfer the knowledge and the skills of our organization to provide services to the people with special needs in Bangladesh. Later, APPG chairperson and main MP visited Apasen personally and encouraged us to make the most of our expertise in Bangladesh, considering the urgent need of the people in there who are differently able. Following this, in 2012, a delegation from Apasen visited Bangladesh. Richard Fuller MP was also in this delegation. They met contemporary and former prime ministers and a number of ministers. After this visit, we commenced a comprehensive study and research work to explore the feasibility of a project in Bangladesh which would uphold the international norm in terms of value and transparency. Subsequently, Apasen International was set up as a CIO in 2013. Apasen International is focused on improving the lives of people with learning disabilities, autism, and other special needs in poor urban and rural communities in Bangladesh. The organization draws on the considerable expertise of its sister organization, Apasen UK, which is one of the UK's biggest diaspora-led charities with almost 35 years experience in the health and social care sector. According to the Bangladesh law, any international NGO requires NGO Bureau registration from the Prime Minister's Office of Bangladesh, and we have duly registered with NGO Bureau in 2017. In 2015, we organized a conference at BRAC Center in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which was attended by Stuart Harris, the head teacher of award-winning school of Phoenix. Following the conference, a joint delegation comprising the 3 teachers from Phoenix and Apasen trainer went to Bangladesh, and Veronica was there. The aim was to work with special schools in Sylhet to give training and gain understanding about the facilities and resources available in there. Afterwards, Apasen and Phoenix agreed to work in partnership in Sylhet, Bangladesh, in order to establish a day center for the young adults with disability and a school for children with autism. We have already secured 2 houses located in one compound in Sylhet, which would be used for our planned day center in the school. We shall use one house to establish the Phoenix Satellite School for the children with autism and special education needs, and the other one will be used as a day opportunity center for young adults 16 plus. A joint delegation from Apasen and Phoenix is now going to Bangladesh to complete the remaining work, which includes design, the school settings, and the centers, complete the recruitment of key staff and assign specialists. Besides the schools and the day center, Apasen will also provide training on social care and parents empowerment, which will include home care training for family care, caregivers, and facilitate learning English language. We will adopt a comprehensive approach that ensures every individual has a person-centered person-centered plan and health action plan that identifies their health, education and other needs. We will also support local partners to set up vocational and training centers to build and develop the confidence of young people with special needs to pursue a livelihood and generate an income. We need support from Bangladeshi community living in the UK, including the media. We hope that everyone's support and cooperation we will be able to serve a particular section of people in Bangladesh who need most. Thank you very much for listening to us, and we are at your disposal. You can ask any question or Stuart, if you'd like to add anything.
I think, first of all, thanks for having us here. It's a project that I think will be very beneficial to the community, both here in London and also to children and young people with autism in Sylhet. I think our idea behind setting this up is that we share our expertise. Phoenix is an outstanding school, which gives us good credentials to do something like this, but I think first and foremost it's something that we want to share with Sylhet for our parents. And as Mahmood said, between 70 and 80% of our parents come from a Bangladeshi heritage. They're very proud of their roots, but also I think there's an understanding that attitudes towards autism in Bangladesh are not the same as they are over here. And we very much feel that children who have a diagnosis of autism in Sylhet should have the same entitlement that children here have. And I think probably we all know that there are a number of children, or many children in Bangladesh, who are perhaps hidden. Our parents are proud of their children, and we go out, we're in the community, in Tower Hamlets, and I think we want the same for children in Sylhet. We want them out in the community, we want them educated, we want them looked after to the same degree that children here are. So I think it's the opportunity for the community in Tower Hamlets to give something back to Bangladesh. And we want to have the support of the local community, as we have the support of the local community in Tower Hamlets. So we think it's the right thing to do.
I think Barry can add something. What you gained experience, your visit?
When Shalina, Jubaida and myself went to Bangladesh with Zakir from Apasen, we were working across 4 schools in Sylhet, and we realised quite quickly that their level of expertise and their understanding of autism was very different to what it is in our school, and so we wanted very quickly to sort of train people and meet the parents of the children that were at the school, which we did. We trained over 90 people in a room, not a lot bigger than this. People were just crammed in and came just to hear and to receive training that we were giving. We took lots of resources out from our school, and we went and bought local resources and showed lots of activities that we could do using resources from the local community. And we tried really hard to go into the schools and model lessons and model activities, and to build a curriculum, to build a timetable even across the day, because what's happening in the schools is that they have some small amount of resources, and then the children are just repeating that same activity time after time after time. And so it became very apparent that unless we were out there and actually influencing from the beginning and starting with people that were prepared to change, then we weren't going to be able to do what we need to do. So the idea about starting our own school and then employing people who are starting from our beginning point, we're going to do the training, we're going to put in the influence and show exactly what we want for those children. And then perhaps that can then spread out, because it will become a centre of excellence, we hope. which then can influence other communities and other schools that are already established out there. But until there's that model out there, I think it's very hard to just go out to Bangladesh for a week, 2-week period and make changes, because they just want to change things back to make it how they were working and how it's safe for them. So I think it's a really interesting project that we're going out to start something which could then grow and become like a training centre of excellence.
Thank you.
You want to go for the questions now?
Okay. My name is Nazmul Hussain. I'm working for the Global News 24. So first of all, I want to appreciate your initiative, and it is really marvelous work in Sylhet. So have you any idea about resource in Bangladesh, especially trained staff or educator? Because I know already there are plenty college for special education training and also service. If you could visit there and if you can recruit some already trained staff, then on the top up, if you can provide training from UK, I think it is helpful rather than very newcomer staff. So my question is, have you any plan to recruit some experienced in Bangladesh staff? Thank you very much.
We have already advertised in Bangladesh BDjob online .com and in Sylhet local papers, I think, and other networks.
Okay.
All the organizations we have been working, we have sent information, and we are shocked to receive the application and CVs, and his overwhelmment is very difficult to handle now. So they are endlessly working for the last week, and Stuart's office and team working for teachers.
I think what you say about the education colleges in Bangladesh, I think we would be very interested to be put in contact with those.
Yeah.
So if after this event you could actually direct us, I think that would be very interesting.
Okay.
When we were out there, when Mahmood and I were out there 3 years ago, we had some meetings with BRAC, and when we were in Sylhet, we went to their education centres, which we were very impressed with, and very impressed with the calibre of people that we met there, who were very well educated and very knowledgeable about Bangladesh. So yes, we would very much like to make those contacts. As Mahmood said, we have had a lot of applicants, but the field is very wide at the moment. So we're having to look at those applications to see who has had any educational experience, and particularly looking for special education experience, because it would be good to make that link. Yeah, so very much agree with what you're saying. We're very we want to get the right appointments at the right time. The other thing that we are looking for when we go out next week is to make contact with psychiatrists, people who are working with children in the local hospitals, to make sure that we get the diagnosis right, because it is very important that we set this up with the right children, and those children need to be carefully diagnosed as children with autism. Because if we are going to set up this exemplar provision, we want it to be set up in a way that others throughout Bangladesh will want to come and see it.
Okay,
So
thank you very much.
Very much want to get people from Bangladesh employed in this school. So yeah.
Basically, my background is clinical psychology and psychology from back home and also here. So that's why I'm really keen to help volunteering with your project, because I also worked with a special education school that is named Kullani. Have you heard about Kullani? There is first special treatment or education service in Bangladesh. They have a strong link with UK. Regularly
Where is it based?
in Dhaka, Malibag. And also there is a hospital as well for special need children. So I have some idea.
Is that Dhaka too?
Yes.
Right, okay.
All center and education institute in Dhaka I have no idea about Sylhet basically.
When we were out in Bangladesh, we were in Dhaka and met the ministers from education, and 5 of them came over to our school and spent 10 days with us, training and looking at our facilities. But they're building a centre of excellence in Dhaka, which is going to be 15 stories high and it's got all the facilities and everything. But Sylhet at the moment needs to have its own. And when we were in the schools, we did meet some fantastic teachers who were very interested and very aware. It's just the facilities and the resources and the idea of how you put a curriculum together is where we need to go next. So I'm excited about seeing how they've developed as well. But I think once they've got a model, they'll pick that up very quickly. But often it's really good to have people who haven't necessarily got that qualification behind them, but they're keen to learn, because we can always train and make changes.
Thank you.
Any other
So this is Mohammed from Channel S. I want to know, are you taking any fees from the young people? If you take fees or cost from the student, then what about the very poorest one? How they'll get chance?
Yeah.
We have carefully thought about it, and we are charging very small amount. You will be surprised to see in cantonment Proas in Bangladesh. They charge about 10,000 taka per month per child. And
Other rich people.
Yeah, others. We are going to charge minimum of 3,000 taka, and 25% of students, and for poor background will be free.
25% for the poor.
For the year.
Thank you. So how are you managing the rest of the budget, like from the upper
No, but what we have, the budget is what we have done, most of the donation and
public donation.
and public donation plus autism trust, Phoenix has autism trust, and we have other sources and trust and charities foundation, and we have also 2 years fundraising strategy we have taken, and we are negotiating with various international companies to donate, even including Bangladesh.
Thank you.
Sorry, my name is Rahmat Ali. I just want to know if you are getting any help from Bangladesh government at the moment.
The Bangladesh government is, yes, they are supportive, they never said no, but what we have, it is a little bit frustrating. The bureaucratic system is so difficult to work, and I personally, I have more than what they have done. They have gone for a short visit. And one thing I can tell you proudly, the NGO registration is a very tough thing.
Yes, now it is.
And for last 3-4 years, there is hardly registered NGO from overseas. And we were the first one, and nobody, they took time, honestly, and it was a challenge for us. We said, no, we should not spend any money. We should take it time, and we got it. And I like to clearly say that it is very good that we face the challenge and we overcome the situation. Now we can say that we have not given any bribe or anybody influenced, no political request, nothing. We have not requested anybody. But yeah, sorry, the Bangladesh government is keen to help. One thing, I just spoke to what is called? NDD Trust, chairman of NDD Trust today. I've been discussing, he came here last year for international conference, and he's going to join us in Sylhet. Because I said, Stuart and Veronica, they are not going to Dhaka, but they are going to buy Biman and coming back Dhaka. So he has agreed to come to Sylhet, stay with us for a moment. And so he will support, he is chairing the NDD Trust. and Prime Minister directly advise on the task. So that will be very useful and prosperous for us.
I want to know what you provide, what you will provide in Bangladesh. It will be similar with the Phoenix, what given here.
Not 100%, so we can try to take the flavor of it.
I think what we're trying to do is to set up in the first instance in a small way, but we would want to make sure that all the structures and systems that we have going on at Phoenix are in place. Then we want to make sure that there is as much opportunity for play, for exploration, for activity-based learning as we have at Phoenix. It's very difficult though to replicate quite what we've got at Phoenix, because we've been establishing special education provision there for many years. So I think these things will come slowly, but I think they will be different to the way we've got it here. But I think the policies, the structures, the way in which teachers and teaching assistants are going to work in the classroom, that will be modelled very closely on what we've got at Phoenix. We plan that our teachers, our teaching assistants, will go out to Bangladesh. We also would like to have reciprocal visits, so staff from there will come over to us and train with us at Phoenix. And we very much hope that that's possible. What we want to get though is to get ownership in Sylhet. So we want to make sure that we've got people who are trained just like our staff at Phoenix, and they can then take over their own training, and then we will just need to make sure that we visit regularly to make sure that they have the same standards that we have. So that will be an interesting an element of what we do. But we are very clear that, and keen that we give the project very good supervision, particularly during the early years.
We're starting small. We're starting with just 2 classrooms, 5 to 8 year olds. So it'll be, we can model those classrooms very easily and then build out from there. So we can get the resources right, the curriculum right, everything right, but just have 2 bases to start.
So I'm representing INCB. As far as I know, it's like you just running one project in Bangladesh, which is in Sylhet. So do you have any initiative to establish another project in Dhaka or any other districts of Bangladesh? And if you want to do, how you will establish this one? Can you?
Right. For the school, we are going to start the Sylhet one, and we have, as I said, one school and one day center for young adults. In Bangladesh, we have already working with BRAC. BRAC has got 5 centers with our support. One in Gazipur, one in Gulshan, one in Sylhet, one in Pabna, one in Khulna. So they are running well. We are sending our trainer every year, train and logistics support we are providing, and we are going to review every year. This time I am going to review again with BRAC, and it's running very well. And we are also, we like to, in future, there is a need in Dhaka serious, and we are talking to few big people who can donate or give their premises that we can think of in future.
My name is Abdul Batsha from BGNews.com. I want to know when you're going to start your first project in Sylhet, fully. When you're going to start fully in Sylhet?
We are planning in September this year.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I have a few questions.
Few?
Yeah, very small, but I don't know how to answer. I represent the Patrika, the only broadsheet here, the newspaper. My first question is, I'm from Sylhet. I'm very proud to be from Sylhet. Where your institutions or schools is going to be? I would like to know the name of the place. Secondly, I'd like to know the budget of running those institutions, and as you have mentioned that you are going to, depending on the donations, is it going to be only donations or also?
Not 100%. We have secured 2 years budget. which is initially with some capital cost and building renovation, furniture, equipment, so obviously it will cost extra. About 60 lakhs taka will be first year. Following year should be about 45 to 50 lakhs. So gradually it may reduce its running cost.
And my second
And it will be in Sylhet off Airport Road, it's near Amberham.
And the other question is that what would be the capacity on each organization? You are running a day center and a school.
Day center will be about 20 plus.
20 plus.
And school.
I think in the first instance we're looking at between 12 and 16 classes for children with autism really run between 6 and 8 or 6 and 10. So we're looking at 2 classes in the first instance, so there will be across the age range 5 to 8. The way in which, I think if we think back to the way in which we started our current school, Phoenix School in Tower Hamlets, we started that very small. We got the practice right, and then we expanded that. So I think it's really important that we get people engaging right with those children, well trained, and then we can expand it. I think probably we're looking at a school of around between 30 and 50 children. I know that seems quite vague.
To start with.
No. To start with, we're looking at between 12 and 16.
On each class?
No, across the provision. So we want to start
Very young.
small, yes, between 5 and 8.
Yeah, 12 and 16 is for the school. And what about the day center?
But this is, Apasen is running the day center. Will be about 20 plus.
So when we increase to 5 classes, we'll be a school for around 40 to 50 top.
Yeah.
Slowly, what the plan is to start with small, make sure everything, that's what is make sure everything is right, then we can expand it for a year or later. And demand we can see. And recently, Ministry of Social Welfare in Bangladesh, they have done a research. We are liaising with them how they have done it. What is the, we are hoping to get the report soon.
And what would be the curriculum like? Is it going to be
Curriculum.
We'll base the curriculum around what we have at Phoenix.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously we'll have to look at the the education that is happening in Bangladesh. But it'll be a very practical curriculum, activity-based, and at first it will just be about engagement and teaching communication and interaction skills, and making sure that the staff are teaching very early language skills and numeracy skills through a very different type of way of teaching to a mainstream. So it'll be using real objects and using fun activities out in the garden, we hope, outside, play, and making sure we get sensory integration right, so that we're teaching them about their sensory needs, and then providing activities that will support their sensory needs, teaching about communication and ways that they can teach the children to communicate if they haven't got a voice, using pictures. So lots of different things will make up the curriculum, but until we sort of get out there and meet the children and meet the parents and see how we're going to develop that, then we need to sort of work a curriculum around the need.
We are also planning to recruit the teachers first, train them before they start. And also the general school has got like 1 teacher and 30 students, not like that. It's a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or maybe 1:3, 4.
Yes.
It'll be 1 teacher and some teaching assistants,
yes,
with a group of 8 children.
So how many teachers would you need to start
We are just planning
1 or
2
2
teachers to start off with, 1 for each class. And it's likely that we would staff each of the classes with between 3 and 5 teaching assistants, again depending on the levels that the children come in. So I think
there's a lot of work to be done in terms of the assessment and diagnosis of children there. Then we will look at the group in order to select which children would fit in with this provision.
You're starting, I believe, in September. Do you think you have enough time to train the staff?
Yeah. We are recruiting now.
Okay.
And so about how many? 5 months, 6 months?
Okay. And I also would like to know whether you will have the staff from Phoenix initially in Bangladesh.
We have requested one.
We're planning to have 2 of our staff out there during the summer.
Okay.
So it may be that one of them goes out a little earlier, and one of them manages the early days of the intake. We then will be sending staff out regularly, at least quarterly. So once we've got those staff trained, set up the classrooms, and ideally through our recruitment, we are actually recruiting people who have some experience of autism, definitely of children with special educational needs.
And
So
you also have the regular exchange program for the
yes,
Yeah.
but a number of our staff come from families of a Bangladeshi heritage. They're very well disposed to going out there. It's a very nice partnership for the school. It's something that will support our staff, and our staff are very motivated about. So I don't think we're going to have any trouble recruiting trainers at the moment. We have a lot of interest in school, and we're starting to get interest from our parents as well. And as you know, many of our parents make trips from time to time back to Bangladesh, and we hope that the lure of the school will actually interest them to go and see what we're doing there and gain their support.
Thank you.
So the name will be Phoenix or Apasen? School name?
Good question. We've been messing about with that for a while. So
or joint name?
Our joint name. So it's Phoenix Apasen International. So it's Phoenix School in Sylhet, and Apasen International, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, we haven't got a banner for it yet, but we'll get one when we're out there.
We tried to make a small logo like that. Have you seen this?
Yeah, the logo, yeah.
Half designed by Stuart, half designed by me.
Phoenix Apasen International, yeah.
Yeah, no, Phoenix as well.
School will be Phoenix, and the desk will
Phoenix,
be
yeah.
We decided it would be easier to call it Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix School Sylhet.
Thank you.
It draws a little of our expertise, and it kind of sets the standard. And I
Also,
think,
it's easy. Anybody can search in Phoenix and Google search and see Phoenix School here. And we should have a different website as well.
Yes.
Dedicated
Yes.
website.
So yes, we're currently working on the website.
So the school is for purely learning, for autistic,
Yes.
not for learning disability.
No.
And
For
they
autism and learning difficulties, and
Okay.
really we're looking at probably autism and severe learning difficulties. Now, we provide outreach to children across Tower Hamlets, so we support something like 600 children. But the children that we have at Phoenix are probably the more severe end of the learning difficulties. Children that really find it difficult to be in mainstream settings. And many children can manage with autism in a mainstream setting. So many of our children, probably 70% of our children do not have language. They have communication and they communicate through PECs, but 70% are non-verbal. And we expect to see something similar in Bangladesh. And that's going to be, I think, very interesting. Who we see, where we find them. So we want to very early on, and hopefully next week, meet with people who are working in this area, paediatricians in the local hospital. We did do a visit 3 years ago to the local hospital. I think you did the same, Veronica.
Where we just came bro in the Usmani Medical College.
Yeah.
Now CRP is there. We are in touch to get some more specialist therapists from there.
Speech therapist.
Speech therapist,
Psychotherapist.
occupational therapist.
Psychiatrist. And child psychologist who were there as well in Usmani Medical.
Right.
Yeah, and psychiatrist as well.
You've been there?
Yeah, in Usmani Medical.
I've been twice.
We know Apasen is a big organization, so that's why we want to listen more about from your chairman or president. And I think there are some staff here. If you can introduce them.
You ask them, all right. Our Apasen staff is well known. I
take interview and then he will start another session.
Initially I mentioned about two chairmen. One is international chairman, Anandama, and he is chairman of Apasen.
Can I just say a couple more sentences? This is purely on the school, German and Phoenix, but as you have heard that Apasen International, we've got an NGO registered in Bangladesh. The intention is to build a center of excellence and basically launch a campaign on the disability, because in Bangladesh it is a wide area that people are very aware of, but there aren't much basically tackled, or the way we in this country approach disabled people or special need people in Bangladesh. If you are not privileged background person, you don't have any existence. As Hassan Bhai has mentioned, that we have got 5 centers working with Prague. All those 5 centers are free, and there are people from destitute background. They have no, I mean, majority of the young people who participate in those centers, they have no class, and they have no means to pay anything. So we provide them free, absolutely free. So our intention is not only one. This is a special press conference for this school. This is why I'm not saying this. The Apasen International has the intention to uplift the issue of disability and special needs in Bangladesh and build an center of excellence in Dhaka and all over the Bangladesh. That's the whole intention that we have registered. So Apasen International is, as Hassan Bhai has mentioned, that we will have a day center, and our intention is to build day center throughout the whole country.
Thank you.
Now we have only 5 in Bangladesh. And slowly we try to develop this section, which is now we can go to the 25. Example, because of Brexit, we try to get some money from the DFID. Some of you know that it's from House of Parliament, and we present there, and they said they will give the money. But when on 16, where it's going on, the Brexit things, it's gone. That's why we are down. Still got a 5, but hopefully within a few years we can get about 20.
Thank you, sir.
So for raising funds, can I just say one more thing? For raising funds, currently we are doing 3 things. We are trying to raise money, grants, donation from various donating bodies. At the same time, we also have friends and families regularly donating in our account £5, £10, £20, £50 per month. We have a number of people doing this. So through that, in this country, we are also approaching some of those people, those who have the means in Bangladesh, and also some of those organizations, those because CRS project. As you know, they're all the Bangladeshi big institutions, not governmental institutions. They have a scheme that if they make a lot of money, they have to donate some money for the charitable purposes. We're approaching a number of those organizations as well. So we're hoping that we'll be able to raise quite a bit of money, also government.
We request as a all of you are here.
You're more than welcome.
Everyone, we need some support from you, and take form from us and try to get a donation which is £20, £10, £50 per month. Whatever you can afford, you can give it to us for those people.
Not only you, the people those who will come to the country.
Thank you, sir.
I may have asked too many questions, but this is the last
No,
one.
doesn't matter.
Will the care center in Sylhet will be free as well, like your other centers?
No, what actually happened? The free center, what Rahman has mentioned, these are from slum, people from slum area. And Gulshan, although it is diplomatic zone, if you go once, you have to wash your clothes. And that's the way, or you can, within Gulshan, you take the boat to go to the center. So that, Korai Bosti. So that's where we started. And in Sylhet, we are thinking of Taka 3,000 per month, per person, which is very small amount. What we believe, we have a lots of debate. I don't believe anything to give free for middle class people. They will abuse it or they will not take it. So that's what I think. This is a minimum. What per month, if you consider per child, our young adults, it will cost about 15,000 to 20,000 taka. Because we are charging very basic administrative fees.
But you are only taking 3,000
Yeah, that's right.
for school and the center, same.
Same.
And only 25% for the.
25% free.
At least initially, but once you have got sufficient budget.
25% of your intake will have free.
Yeah. And if you can raise more money, that 25% may increase. That's the intention.
So there is another thing you can realize that, which is some of the children are 1-to-1, some of them 3-to-1, some of them 2-to-1. So one of the workers, if you employ over there as a staff, you have to pay more than 20,000 per month. So if you doesn't get any money from those people, how can you get all this money?
So I'd like to thank London Bangla Press Club for the facilities you have given and all the members from various media, newspapers. Thank you for your support.
Also welcome them because they are newly elected.
No, they have not had the officiate for this time.